The Havoc DH grind continues on Season 2 beta, and I'm pushing every single build to its limits. Right now, I'm testing a Fellscarred Glaive Tempest setup. In this video, I'll be breaking down the 4-set bonus, sharing what I've tested so far, and diving into the potential builds that might actually define this season. One thing's for sure, Havoc's feeling pretty good. Sit back, relax, let me know what you think. All right, so first we're going to talk about the best change that they've made so far. They added into our talent tree down at the bottom Screaming Brutality. So, what this means for us is it's essentially in Dragonflight, we had a 4-set bonus that when we blade dance, it would throw a throw glaive. And that was one of the best interactions that Havoc Demon Hunter has ever had. They have finally added that back, and they've added it in as a talent in Screaming Brutality. Blade Dance automatically triggers Throw Glaive on your primary target for 100% damage, and each slash has a 50% chance to throw Glaive in an enemy for 35% damage. So this essentially means that we can stack our Soul Scar easier, and that is one of the best changes ever. It makes Eldrachi Reaver so much better. It was so taxing, like having to keep up a Soul Scar buff while trying to deal with everything else Eldrachi Reaver requires. Oh man, that was not fun. So this is one of the best changes that they've made. Eldrachi Reaver's looking like it's going to be a little bit more ahead than Fellscarred right now. So one of the main reasons for it, and also in like high keys army unto itself, Fellblade surrounds you with a blade ward, reducing damage taken by 10% for 5 seconds. I mean, when you're talking about high keys and you're trying to live one, two things, this means that the healer can heal someone else. This 10% combined with deflecting dance, 15% of your max health. So you will essentially use your Fellblade onto the mob. Once you Fellblade, you will deflecting dance during that 5 seconds when the main portion of the damage is out. If it's just tick damage, you would probably just use it ASAP, so you could probably get another one later, depending on how long that dot is. So, and you're not losing anything whenever you take these. Blade Dance, this is only for like Sanguine, and they took Sanguine out. I'm sure there's a dungeon where this is relevant. Mortal Dance, there's little cheeky things that you can do with Mortal Dance, like there are things in Waycrest Manor where you could make that boss heal 50% less if you Blade Dance at the right times. So, right now, Deflecting Dance, army unto itself, and then just the flat damage that we're going to be getting from Screaming Brutality. It looks like Essence Break is going to be back. I've been trying to play Glaive Tempest. It does not seem to be as good. One of the main changes that they made for Fellscarred that's going to be pretty good for especially newer players is Student in Suffering was probably the better choice for most things because you're guaranteed giga damage added with this if you always use your Sigil of Flame first. So they buff Spellbound, so your Ragefire actually explodes at 30%. I think it's 20 or 30% bigger. I'll have to check that note. So it's no matter what, you now get a huge Ragefire bonus too. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. I I think that it would probably be equal to Student of Suffering now. So if you're not super comfortable with the class, Flamebound is just amazing for you. Make sure that you're taking Flamebound. But if you're trying to probably push the most damage you can do, I think Student of Suffering is the best that we got. I will probably sim all of this stuff, but getting bigger rage fires is always pretty helpful, especially in keys if there's like stuff on the ground that you cannot get through because it's just like you will die. So there's scenarios where having a bigger flamebound, a bigger rage fire is good. So good changes, great changes to the regular talent tree. I absolutely love this. This opens up everything, and our major other one is now Cycle of Hatred has a one cost node instead of two. So I'm seeing real possibilities where like you have the biggest or AoE group in the world, and you could come on in here with like Inner Demon, Cycle of Hatred, Shattered Destiny, and you would still do okay damage AoE, but you just wouldn't have any. You probably wouldn't have Rage Fire. Like you could actually make a case where you could do so much single target damage, probably in a key like value of single target, just straight funnel as Eldrachi. We're gonna have to see. I think that this is an exciting season for Havoc. I think there's going to be a lot of different stuff that we can try. We're going to have to see how it feels. Going over the 4 set here. Oh my god, I'm level 666. Going over the 4 set. This is, so far, I've played. I haven't truly noticed it yet because I don't have a weak aura to track it or anything like that. So winning streak increases your damage of your Blade Dance and Chaos Strike by 3%, stacking up to 10 times. Blade Dance and Chaos Strike have a 15% chance to remove winning streak. And basically, if you get the full stack of winning streak and you use your meta and you start casting all of your Blade Dances or Chaos Strikes, you might lose winning streak. But when entering Demon form, you sacrifice all of your winning streaks. So if you have your full 10 stack, you're going to get 10 stacks of crit, and then it's just going to be you're going to actually be able to do some damage outside of meta. And then once you get in the meta, you will gain that value of what you had been stacking when you were outside of it. So I like that they finally found a way to incorporate extra damage outside of meta without giving the meta too much. So I don't think we're ever going to be like, you don't have to meta at 10. Like we might not be holding, depending on how fast we could stack it up, but you probably, for example, would not hold your meta for it. You would probably hold your meta for as soon as it procced that actual winning streak. So if it removes it, then we would probably meta right away to try to get that extra value out of the crits. And then we would be stacking up our winning streak ASAP when we meta. So I think we can get a decent amount of crit chance. So as soon as we stack, we would use our meta and then try to stack up our winning streak again. So we'll play around with this more. I have not played enough of it with any form of an indication on where the stacks are. So once I can see the stacks, I will be able to learn a little bit more about when we're supposed to be using it. And I think it's a cool. Whoever is designing this season of Havoc is definitely cooking. I like this. They made a lot of cool changes. That talent, student, uh, Screamer Brutality, fantastic. 4 set looks good. Bellscarred, not looking great. And my favorite ability in this game is the freedom of Glaive Tempest. So let's make that good too. So let's shout out Glaive Tempest. But let's talk about what else is in the game. So our trinkets and weapons. This weapon is the best weapon I've ever seen. It's doing like 4% overall DPS. So I'm assuming that this will get nerfed. There's almost no way that just an equip on a weapon should be able to do this much damage. So if you're on beta, use this. It will get nerfed. I'm almost certain. I think one of the best trinkets that I saw on here for me, and I haven't simmed any of these trinkets. I'm going by reading and I'm just testing things because I like to test things and I like to see how they feel. Somebody's going to tell me the exact numbers later, and like it's not like you can always get exactly what trinket you want at that item level. So knowing all the different options is kind of what I would like to do. And so here's some that I went over, tested, and I'll be testing some of the other ones later. So Azerok's Resonating Heart, plus just flat mastery, and your attacks have a chance to harmonize with the shard, granting you almost 21k agility. So I think that's insane. I mean, if it has such a low proc chance or something like that, then we're probably going to get rid of it. But I think in the last dungeon, it seemed fine. So 21k agility, pretty good. I have another on equip one that just gives you another flat mastery, and this is more agility, and then it kind of helps with some of the tankiness. So I just kind of wanted to see how much this would actually proc. That's why I'm using this one. Some of the other ones I have an idea of. Remnant of Darkness sounds really, really good for single target. I think this is your single target trinket for sure. Excuse me. Uh, this one seems to be. I feel like Havoc could benefit from this core amplifier. If at the worst case scenario, I get more 4,200 haste or 5,500 verse, or whichever vice versa it is, whichever one I would get. It feels so good. And then it's 4,500 master or agility just flat. So I want to test this one out. I think this could be crazy. In my head, this sounds great. I will test this one out over this one now. I think I'm gonna test that. That sounds cool. It would look like Signet of Priory. I have to try that out. So, and I've also tried the Noggin Fogger Ultimate Deluxe. This guy just drops a random pirate next to you, and he does some damage. And I mean, it is what it is. So, I really like the idea of getting 21,000 agility, then pair that with just a straight stat stick, and if these proc at the same time, wow, 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 wow. I think that this could be a pretty cool setup. Ideally, I want one equip and one on-use trinket. And so I'll figure out what the best on-use trinkets are and definitely get back to you on that. Overall, really like the changes. I think we're in a great spot for Havoc right now, and I'm excited to try a little bit more some of the different builds. I will be testing this build this weekend and probably make a video on this one. The video that I showed early in the video was Fellscarred Glaive Tempest, and that was mediocre. I didn't really like that one, but I think this one I'm showing on here is going to be good single target, and yeah, I think this will be like perfectly fine to just mow down mobs too. We still have Rage Fire, Unbound Chaos, Fire Within. I'm going to be Soul Scarring. The only thing I got to figure out is like Serrated Glaive or Furious Throws. How much am I actually going to be throwing this glaive? And how much damage. We'll figure all the little things out, but this is the basic idea. If you want to see a Fellscarred, this would probably be a Fellscarred Mythic Plus build right here. Change Student of Suffering if you want to try something different out, and then just make sure that you're using your Sigil of Flame before your huge burst. I think it's pretty much going to be the same on each side. Oh yeah, if we do Fellscarred, we probably take this over here, and you could probably honestly do whatever you want. There we go. This sounds pretty good. I like darkness cooldown. That's always nice. Yeah, reduced darkness cooldown's great. I really like that. I'm gonna save this one. So this should be the Fellscarred build, and you would be able to just ideally swap between them. I think that these new talent setups will actually allow that. I don't know why that's not saving here, but either way, I hope that this helped, guys. This is just a quick overview of Havoc on beta right now. I think it's going to be pretty cool.